I have so many questions. You had a fabulous trip.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to hear all the details of the Barbie concert and just everything. Like, I think it's really hard when you, I don't know, I haven't talked to you for like a week.
No, we talked.
We've texted.
Yeah, we've been texting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really good. Went out to LA for it was the Sinfonietta's orchestra, or the Barbie movie featuring the Sinfonietta orchestra, that Doc was playing for, and it was great. It was very interesting. It's always tough to say because people will take it in a different way. I don't. I'm kind of either or on the Barbie movie. I was like, oh, it's like a kids movie. I don't know. It was nice to see. We all saw it together.
We saw it together.
And it was like
openly.
You wept, and we saw it with a bunch of our little cousins and nieces and stuff, and so that was really fun because it's awesome. But like watching it the second time, I was like, yeah, yeah, it's fine. Like it's not my thing, but I like it's fine. It's fine.
For people who don't listen every week, Doc is your girlfriend. She is an amazing violinist.
Yeah.
So she went out and played in this orchestra symphony
Yep.
that was doing the live soundtrack to the Barbie movie in the Hollywood Bowl. So huge deal. But you're saying you watched the Barbie movie a second time, and that brings me to this really great point, because something's been happening this week that I really want to talk about. I'm very annoyed by. This is a newsflash. I don't think the Barbie movie was for you. It might have been for women.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Why are you're getting combative with me? See, this is the issue with the whole thing.
I'm not getting combative. It's bringing me to I'm not getting combative to you.
Let's do this.
To a larger point.
What's your larger point?
So over the weekend, I watched the opening ceremony Olympics in France.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought the opening ceremonies were so cool. They didn't just stage it in a stadium. They used the entire Champs-Élysées, the Seine. Like, they used Paris as the backdrops of the Olympics. And it was innovative and creative. And there were some parts that I'm like, well, that's really freaking weird. But I didn't get offended or upset. Yeah. And there has been this huge backlash over the opening ceremonies by Christians who are offended. And so, full disclosure, I identify as a Christian. I'm a very faithful person. I pray every day. I am a Christian. I don't know how you identify. How do you identify? Religion.
Oh, so we're doing one of these? Oh, jeez. I don't know. I believe in like higher power and stuff. I don't have a specific belief system. I don't know if I'd say I'm Christian necessarily. I mean, do you know the definition of Christian? Like you believe
someone who believes in Christ. Yeah.
Okay.
That believes Christ was a prophet and an important person in our history. And
yeah. I believe in like the idea of mythologies and stuff being helpful for us, and that there's a higher power, and like listening to the universe and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like Christian. I do like Christian stuff.
Christian stuff.
I like some of the ideas, but okay. So I get why they're annoyed or not happy, because not even like anything against anybody, but like watching the whole Last Supper thing, I was just kind of like, why is this happening?
But number one, there are conflicting reports. I've read many things that seemed very credible that said it was not the Last Supper. It was a different artist depiction. And someone with the organizing committee came out and said, we're sorry if we offended anybody with the Last Supper depiction. So I really don't know, to be honest with you.
It's the Last Supper.
But
it's definitely
it has the exact number of people. I don't know. I really do not know. I've read things both ways, but here is to my bigger point, and I'm not here to argue whether it was the Last Supper or wasn't the Last Supper. Yeah. My point was, I felt really annoyed that people think everything is for them. So much like you're like, yeah, the Barbie movie is just not for me. It's literally not for you. Just like the opening ceremonies.
It's different.
really just about, we are the French. This is how we see the world. This is how we see artistry and art. It's not for you.
Well, now that's okay. Well, I think that's a very horrible take because the Olympics are for everyone. So
no, yes, the actual competition and the Olympics and the spirit of the Olympics,
the opening,
I agree completely.
The beginning to end of the Olympics and the idea is that it's for everyone. That's why they have the Paralympic athletes in there, and they're doing
inclusion.
All that.
Right.
It's all about inclusion, and inclusion was a big part of why it was depicted the way that it was. So it's for everyone, and if
but what I'm saying is the artistic sensibility. So each home country, think about the things that China did, or the things that Japan did, or the things that other people have done. I think that those opening ceremonies are an artistic representation of how the country sees itself. And they chose to be inclusive and have this kind of artistic interpretations. So I find it weird that people are offended.
I don't find it weird.
Wasn't for them.
No, it's not. That's, oh my God, that's so ridiculous. It's for everyone. This is a terrible point. I love you so much. That is a terrible thing.
No, the opening ceremonies are an artistic representation of the country.
Yes,
of the country.
To expose to everyone. I think bad call. Like, of all things to depict or to do an artist rendition of, doing something that is inherently religious, it just feels like it's trying to be what's the word? Subversive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It does feel like they're trying to do something subversive. But like, I get being subversive.
But what if it wasn't a religious depiction? What if it was the artwork that
The Last Supper is a religious picture. It features Christ, who is a huge part of many religions.
What if
Don't do something religious? It's just the Last Supper. What are you talking about? What if it's nothing? It's the Last Supper, and they did.
Well, I read stuff.
Do a different thing.
The DJ that was involved, the DJ said it was not the Last Supper, that it was this Feast of Dionysus or something like that.
Feast of Dionysus, maybe, yes. But a lot of that stuff is just do something that's it doesn't have religious ties, and you're good.
Or that makes the mistake of appearing to have, like, whether it was or wasn't, whoever you believe. But
it's so clearly the Last Supper. Well, I mean, maybe if it's the designer will come out, whatever. Either way, just pick, like, when you're looking at it, nobody was like, "Oh, hello, Jacques. It looks like the Last Supper." Like, not one person was just like, "Wow, we have a bearded lady pretending to be Christ." I don't know if this is gonna go over well with like all the places in the world where country or like religion is taken very seriously. Just like one guy to just be like, "Hey, I don't know if this is a hot idea." I think, hey guys, hear me out. Yeah, there's just one dude, just Jeff from accounting. He's just like, "Hey, I was going over the numbers and I just happened to see what you guys are working on. Not sure.
Not sure about this one.
Smart. The world's in a place of turmoil. There's religious battles happening. There's wars. Man, let's do a different kind of art thing,
But I just find it fascinating that people take everything so personally. Like, can you think of something that has happened to you that you're like, they don't see my identity. They're going against my belief system, and this is a personal attack on me. Like, I just find it weird that people take it so seriously.
Well, I think with that one, it's fair to take seriously because they're like, everybody has a personal relationship with Christ. That's like a whole big thing about it, and that your relationship with your religion is very personal, and it's hard to have rationality when it comes to religion. So like, when people get mad about religious things, me not being particularly tied to any religion, I'm like, I don't know, I wouldn't get that mad. But like, it makes sense. It's a personal thing. It's very tied to your identity and who you are and how you believe and like just the way you do things.
Those artists and those people involved, that's their personal identity and their personal feeling about things. Why isn't that okay?
Because you're doing something I don't like, and I should be able to be mad about it. I'm not religious, but I get I definitely, when I
get
saw
why
that,
people are
I was just like, why in the, what the fuck? What? What?
like
Of all the things, I'm like, there's so much art in like Paris is such like a city of art, and we've been to the Louvre. There's so much art in there that you can depict, especially depicting like great battles and like wills and triumphs, and they're like the Last Supper or the Supper of Dionysus. It's just kind of, I get why people
an
would be
odd
annoyed.
thing. But there were
It's
so many
odd.
other great things in that opening ceremony, and so many other great artist things. Like,
Yeah.
I just find it like that was the one takeaway that everyone's mad about. Like, there were so many other beautiful things to focus on. So anyway, I just wanted to have this conversation with you because I do think it's interesting of, if things aren't for you, why get offended about them? So like, if the Barbie movie wasn't for you, it's maybe for little girls that grew up playing with Barbie and women who want to talk about how women are portrayed in this world. Maybe the movie was for them, and so don't get offended by it.
Well, I mean, this was literally verbatim what I said to you when the movie ended. I remember sitting in Costa Vida, and you're like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Oh, that movie's just not for me." And you were just like, "Oh, good way to put it." So I just want to point that out. You've taken my words.
You were,
and misappropriated them for the Olympics, which are for everyone, not for the world.
Well, speaking of the Olympics, though, did you hear the big news? Salt Lake City is getting the 2034, I think 2034 Winter Olympics. And so I wanted to see if you have any memories from the last time that Salt Lake City hosted the Olympics. Do you remember what happened that was so fun?
They built the gateway. I remember that being cool.
No, but you remember the speed skating. So one thing that happened, that was so cute is you were probably, how old would you have been in when was that? 2004?
2002.
2002.
I was 7. Yeah.
So you got to go to we were sort of poor at that time, and I remember just spending every last dime that we had on tickets to the Olympic events. And you got really into Apollo Ono. Do you remember Apollo Ono? Yes.
Yes, I do. Whatever happened to that guy?
He went on to have great success, and I think he might live in Utah. I'm not sure. But remember the little soul patch on the chin, and you were one of the first people in the venue. You drew your soul patch on with a magic marker. Do you remember this?
I do remember that. I do. We've been talking about like Caitlin Clark and like talking about the Olympics and stuff. I do think there is this big thing that happens with like, especially with sports. It's it's a rare thing of like when you're in a place as a child and you see somebody doing something amazing. It is like I do understand like the idolization of athletes in particular, because it does really like inspire you. Like hanging out with like Brianna, I'll be like, oh, I gotta oh, she's killing it. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna work hard on this. I'm gonna work hard on that. Like it is such a fascinating, like just psychological experiment of just like being in a room where a bunch of people are cheering on somebody doing something hard is always it's a very like I don't know, like mind-bending thing where you just like, you really respect that you gain so much respect for that person. More so than like, no, pretty much anything. Like even with musicians or like even actors, just like coming into a movie theater right before their movie, like seeing somebody cheered like that is very much like oh, I like that.
Like so I've been very into the Olympics this week, and I have gotten to meet Suni Lee a few times at the ESPYs and different things in gymnastics. And I used to cover gymnastics for ESPN. And then I went and watched her compete at Auburn a couple of years ago. And I was like front row and center. And I brought all these men with me that were working on our basketball crew. And I'm like, hey, the night before our basketball game, there's a women's gymnastics meet. Please come with me. I promise you, you will be obsessed with it. So they all came and they got to see Suni Lee hit a perfect 10 right in front of us. And they are now obsessed with gymnastics. And I just feel like the Olympics comes around and we get to see these people doing things that are so incredibly hard. Simone Biles at 27 years old is doing things that no human body in the world can do except for her. And so I do love all the fandom of it. And I just sit in the living room and cry. I'm just like, look at them.
Yeah.
Like, they
and
are amazing.
Everybody, and it is a nice time of like life whenever the Olympics are going, because everybody's kind of just like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, it's so cool to have everybody so like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. Because I feel like everybody gets like mad about everything nowadays. So when there's like a thing that everybody's just positive,
a common rooting interest in a positive direction. That's a good point of it. Something we can all cheer for collectively. Yeah, I've gotten to meet Simone Biles. I'm just going to name drop. She does not remember me, I'm sure, but we got to do an event together and she was just absolutely delightful. Her dad was there. He was amazing. And I just remember having some conversations with her about, how much longer she was going to compete, and she's like, it's really hard to keep competing because when you're in the cycle, you're training for anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day. So it's not like, 6-7 months before the Olympics, I'll just get a tune up and I'll get ready to compete. Like the way a gymnast's body is built, you have to be
doing it all the time,
year round. So this is like, so many cycles of the Olympics for her, that's like 12 to 13 years of her life, if not longer, of training 8 hours a day, if not every day, probably 70% of her days. So I just think it's really special. But I like what you said of it feels good for all of us to be cheering for something in this direction.
Well, it's like how, to take it to my world a little bit, like the Barbenheimer stuff last year. It was awesome to see everybody wanting to go see the movies, like that vibe of everybody just being like, oh, these two movies are coming out the same day. It's so crazy. Let's go. Like that was so much when there's just a mass movement towards like, oh, we want to love this thing. I love that.
Yeah. Collective positivity. Wouldn't that be nice? I do think this election cycle and just kind of how the US is right now, it can get really wearing, and the negativity and the constant barbs. I do like what you're saying is when everybody's like, okay, we're all in on something, that feels so good.
It feels nice. I do think, like, because I remember when there was all the backlash with Barbie, I do kind of, some of it as I was watching it, one thing I was like, oh, this movie, you lose it a little bit, like if you're not really paying attention, but there's like this thing that guys will just like kind of bail out when it's like Ken's the bad guy, and it's like it takes away the collective positivity in the middle of the movie. But then you watch the whole movie and you can find it again. And I think there's a thing that we do where we're just like, sorry, I need to find the first issue with the thing, and then we don't like go all the way through to the end to see like the total result. Like there's definitely somebody somewhere that was just like, they did The Last Supper with a bunch of gross, and then now they don't, and it's like they're like,
and then they lost all the beauty of the whole rest of the event. And I love that you're bringing that back full circle, because that is exactly my point of one, I don't think I get offended, and I don't think I'm like, this is just, like I just don't have that strong reaction to things. And so I'm very curious about this backlash and people who are so offended. But two, it was a minor small thing in an overall beautiful production that was gorgeously pulled off, innovative, artistic. I mean, even if you were just there for the Celine Dion comeback, I watched her documentary recently, and to see her come back and be able to sing in that moment, I was sobbing like. So anyway, I thought it was really cool. My other favorite part of the ceremony was obviously the parade of athletes down the Seine. That was really cool. And our friend Maria Taylor was hosting the US on the boat. She crushed it. We're so proud of her. She was so amazing.
She did great. She did
great. Shout out to Maria and her baby Roman, and Mama Taylor, who's over there helping her babysit, I see. But the other thing was the floating island with a grand piano floating down the Seine that was on fire with a woman singing Imagine.
Why is that?
I was bawling again.
It looked great. I don't know. That song, Forever is Ruined for me from the pandemic.
How could it be possibly ruined? I think it's one of the most positive, beautiful
Yeah.
messages in all of music.
Yeah, but when all those, it was like a bunch of celebrities while we're all locked up in our houses made like videos, and it like they ran it on like CNN as like I think it was a commercial or something, or like I can't remember, but like all these celebrities like from their like palatial homes like recorded them singing different parts of the song Imagine, and it just kind of like cheapened that song for me in a way. But I
Oh,
also,
really? I don't
yeah,
even, I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but I would never cheapen that song because I think it has the most beautiful lyrics in the history of songwriting. And it's poignant and powerful.
it is poignant and powerful. I just was never, this is gonna get me into some hot water. I was never a big Beatles guy, and I still am not, and I probably never will be.
Probably because of your age group, I would think.
Yeah, and like they released a movie called Across the Universe when I was in middle school, and all these kids got really into it, and then all these kids got really into the Beatles again, and like re-established. And so then all these kids would like be at a friend's house, and he'd like break out a guitar and start playing the Beatles, and it put it into that like that area of my brain of just like cringy, just like surfer white dude playing a guitar at a party, like type music. And so I've never.
Not that there's anything wrong with surfer white guy at a party playing cringy music.
No, there is. They suck. That sucks. It sucks when people do.
Okay, so my chaos theory. I thought it's been a while since we explained our chaos theory. So if you're new to the podcast,
yes.
And shout out to some of our loyal listeners, Natalie. Thank you for letting us know that you listen. We're getting some good feedback, and we appreciate you. So thank you. I thought I should explain quickly. So when you were a kid, we went and saw this movie with Ryan Reynolds called Chaos Theory, and he just kind of gave up on life, and he's like, whatever I draw out of a hat, that's what I'm going to do for the day. And we kind of thought that was hysterical. And we started doing that when you were little, as we would say, all right, what should we do today? And you would put 3 things in a hat. I would put 3 things in a hat. And
silence your phone.
What is happening? Ugh, sorry.
Robbie, leave
this out. And I gotta plug in really quick. So hold on a second.
Leave it in. Leave it all in. This is what the people want.
This was my first topic, Olympics.
Right.
I feel like we hit that. And then I have something else.
AI mom.
AI mom.
What is that?
So I ran across something that I thought was fascinating that, sometimes when I'm looking, like when I'm thinking about, I got to save that. That'd be cool for the pod. So this was a little post from NPR. Whenever stress at work builds, Chinese tech executive Sun Kai turns to his mother's support. Or rather, he talks with her digital avatar on a tablet device rendered from the shoulders up by artificial intelligence that looks and sounds like his mother in the flesh, who died in 2018.
No.
So.
Nope. Hell no.
That was too fast.
No,
that was an immediate.
No damn way.
No?
Gross. Sad and gross. That guy, no.
Sad and gross.
Ew. That sounds like a horror movie.
So, okay, I find a fascinating topic because.
Get over it. She's gone. You got to move on. That's the healthy thing to do, you sick person.
Well, now I'm feeling really bad.
Why? Wait, don't feel bad.
There was a time in our relationship, for people who are new to the pod, where I definitely was dying, and I was going through stage 4 metastatic cancer treatment. The doctor told me, things aren't going great. Not sure. Got to maximize your time. Thank goodness I'm doing great. Immunotherapy saved my life. Yay. But you and I have been through a time together where I was quite possibly dying. And I had these thoughts of, should I start recording videos for him, like for your wedding day or for your grandbabies, or for, like, I had this thought of what should I start doing for the future for my child in case I'm not here in the future. But you're like, hard pass, don't want to hear from my mother ever again.
That's a different thing. So I love the idea of like recording videos and stuff. Like I love that. so that because it's more of like a time capsule of this is her then, and like this is a message from her. But the AI thing I think is gross and weird because it's not her.
Right.
It's this thing. It's this weird little creepy monster that you've made in your computer box. I don't know anything about anything, but that's gross and weird because it's not the person.
It's not real.
It's
right.
a different, it's not real. And so like I think that is a super unhealthy and gross thing that we all kind of do with social media anyways. Is like these people aren't real. And so you're just you're attaching things. So it's like it's not even the actual mom. It's his interpretation. Like I don't want to have my interpretation of you be the way that I remember you. I want you to be the way I remember you.
Yeah, you don't want a computer to interpret how you remember me.
No, I want to actually remember you as you were, not creating this new Frankenstein monster, which is I'm big on like fables and myths and stuff. I think they always kind of have something in them that we can take. And off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that actually really does this. There's probably a million. It's like every ghost story is kind of about this, where like when you hold on to certain things and you try to keep them a certain way, they distort and they become kind of broken down, and it's not real anymore. And that's bad. It's bad for your soul. It's bad for your brain, and it's I hate it. I'd rather just leave me a million videos. I would like that would be great. Like anytime I'm having a tough time, I'm just like, all right, there's this video I can watch with my mom tell me out like that I'm gonna get through stuff. That's great.
Oh, good.
Like I love that. But like getting on my computer, like doing a podcast with an AI voice of my mom is great movie concept. Interesting.
You're like, now that I think about it, maybe for a movie. I thought that was kind of cute, and I just wanted to get your reaction because we've actually been through that together where it's like, not sure how much longer I'm going to be here. And how can we...
Sorry to ruin the cuteness of that.
Yeah, your initial reaction, ooh, gross. Ugh.
Yeah, did not know that we were going for cute. That is gross and you for me though. An AI recreation of my passed away, moved on mom. No. No, not doing that.
Okay. Noted.
I'll leave me videos and I'll leave videos for you just in case anything horrible happens. We'll just have a video file because I've always wanted to do that thing where it's just like, if you're watching this, I'm already dead.
Don't even joke about that.
I know, but no, I burst out laughing. It happens in Bad Boys 4, the new Bad Boys Ride or Die, and it's just my favorite like action movie, spy movie trope, where it's like, if you're watching this, they've already gotten me. I've left you a message over on the road of blah 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 blah. Like I'm gonna make that video. I'm gonna make a little treasure hunt, no matter what. I've written a movie about this. That's a serious thing, but I will in life. I'm going to leave a treasure hunt behind. Maybe we'll start it on the podcast. So because this will live on after us, hopefully, unless like everything goes away. I'm just gonna leave clues throughout the podcast. I'll just be like, "Oh, September ends," and it's like a Green Day lyric that leads you to like a road in Illinois where I've buried like a secret treasure.
Don't overestimate your mother's ability to figure these things out.
I think that's a good idea. Don't overestimate. I'll make it more simple.
I'm like, I don't think I've ever listened to a Green Day song in my life, so that's going to be a challenge.
I'll attach it to like a Mary J. Blige song. You'll be able to
that's better. Thank you.
You'll be able to do that from memory.
Yeah, I can figure that out. No more crying. Here's a road in New Jersey.
Exactly.
No more tears.
No more crying. That was one of her first songs. So that means he's talking about the first time we listened to her music was probably in the Pheasant Way house. He buried something under the Pheasant Way house.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay. All
right. Did you have any chaos topics today, darling?
I did. I'm picking one out of the hat. All right. What's shameless? There could be no shame. Anything you can think of. What's a shameless wish that you just want to put out into the universe? I don't know why I wrote that one. I wrote that one down a while ago.
Shameless.
It can be anything.
A shameless wish I could. Do you mean like shallow or a real
Shameless.
wish or a good
So
wish?
I just mean like it could be anything.
Well, world peace, obviously.
Don't be lame. That's come
But we
on.
really do need some world peace right now. It's
You're gonna
sad.
waste it on world. That's you don't waste it on world peace. What does it even mean?
Well, my very first thought was that I could be skinny for once in my life, but that seemed really
Boom.
shallow. That
That's
seemed
what I'm
really
looking for.
shallow. So then I went from can I be skinny or to world peace?
Skinny first. I just want to star in a remake of Hancock so bad. I think about it a lot.
The great Will Smith movie.
The Will Smith movie where he's like a crappy Superman. Like I went and saw Deadpool Wolverine. Good, go see it. It's great. Won't spoil anything. You might not like it, but I like as I was watching me and my buddy Keanu. I saw Keanu. He's great. His wife May. They put us up. Shout out to them. But as we were leaving the theater, and I was just like, I think if they're like, because like Ryan Reynolds is so specifically good for that movie, and I was just like, I feel like the drunken, like he has all these powers and he's trying to do good, but he's just kind of like and
Not quite there.
Funny and a little over it, and like he can be mean, but like he can also just like he's just like a sweet guy to that like that. Not that I am those things, but I'm just like, oh, I get that. I get that character. I get that idea. I would, and like, oh, that'd be so much fun to make. So that's my shameless wish. I want to do that someday.
Can I admit something really awkward? So I have not seen any of the Deadpool movies because if I want to go see a Ryan Reynolds movie,
You want to see him look hot?
I want to see him looking really hot. And I don't want to go see a movie where Ryan Reynolds is unattractive. Because in what world is Ryan Reynolds really unattractive? And so I just can't sit through that because the whole movie I feel like I'd be going like, why does he have to look that way? Why can't he be the hot Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool?
That's fair. I think, I mean, Hugh Jackman looks great. He always looks great. He's a hot piece of tinsel. I don't know what that means, but
did you say hot piece of tinsel?
I did. I didn't want to say ass. So I said tinsel.
So tinsel is sparkly foil stringers that you put on Christmas trees.
Yeah,
so I'm just curious that was the word that came into your mind.
Hot piece of tinsel.
There we go.
There we go. He's got that thing. He's got the things. All right. Well, that was okay.
Anything else? Anything else, darling? What's your last thing before we get out of here?
I mean, this is fine. It's best. What's your favorite concert experience?
Oh, because you're coming off that cool Barbie concert. I like that. Well, probably my best concert experience was I got to see Shaka Khan live in person in Montreux, Switzerland. I literally flew to Switzerland just to see Shaka Khan at the Montreux Jazz Festival. It's a very world famous jazz festival. And I was in a room of, it wasn't that crowded. I would guess about 300, 400 people. So it was a pretty intimate setting. And I was about 5 or 6 people back from the stage. And at one point she was talking to the audience and she's like, I wrote this song when I was going through a tough time. Anybody out there been through a tough time? And I'm like, I have. And she looked right at me and talked to me, Shaka Khan. And anyway, it was the song Angel. And so I had that intimate moment with Shaka Khan. I'd say that's my number 1 concert moment ever. But then number 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 would be MC Hammer and Janet Jackson, because for most of my life, I just wanted to be an MC Hammer or Janet Jackson backup dancer. So that was my goal. I wanted to be a Hammer girl so bad. Like I learned all the routines. I, to this day, have a VHS video cassette of every MC Hammer music video. And you might remember this. You and I have actually been in our living room trying to learn those dances before. Do you remember that?
I remember.
Like we could do Hammer Time right now if someone made us.
I mean, stop. Hammer Time. Yeah. That's a good one. I like. That's too bad what happened to him. Texas. I'll get you. So those are your favorites. I'm trying to think what my best concert has been. Mine would probably be 21 Pilots. Oh well, does a music festival count as a?
I think so.
Because I did go to one. It's the first and last. Because I hated it at the same time as liking it. It was too much, but it was great at the same time. But I saw Post Malone. We were really close. I mean, also, you're out in the Florida heat. I went to Rolling Loud 2021, and he was the headliner. So it's like the last day. You're tired. It's hot. He's the last person, and there's always like a 2-hour break between the artists. But I just remember like we were so close, we didn't want to move, so we were just standing there for 2 hours, just like zombies, waiting for Post Malone to come out. And then he sang the song "I Fall Apart," and I literally just like stood there just sobbing. I was like, this is perfect. That's probably top. That's number one. And then number two would be 21 Pilots. They like right before they got really big. I don't know if you know who they are. It's surprising that mine are both not. I thought it'd be. I haven't gone that many concerts. I thought it'd be like one of my favorite like artists. I haven't been to many concerts though. But because these aren't like artists I really listen to. But 21 Pilots, they right before they really blew up. It was like right when they were kind of like on the upswing, and they're really big in Utah. And so we went to like this small concert venue, and we were right in the front. And like at one point, they put the drum kit out into the audience, like on a platform, and the guy plays it while you're holding him. And I was like standing there holding the platform, just like watching this guy drum. And like I did percussion stuff too, so like that I like watching this dude be good. I could never really quite get it, but I always had like a respect for it because it is really hard. And so I was just like, this guy's amazing! Wow! So that's a good one. That's a big one.
I love that. I thought you were going to bring up when I very inappropriately took you to Ricky Martin when you were 4 years old.
I thought that you were going to bring that one up. Yeah.
Yeah. I looking back as a young mother, I did certain things like that I realize now were super inappropriate, but at the time I didn't think were inappropriate. Like one was I took you to see Austin Powers, and yeah. I think we had your 6th or 7th birthday party for Austin Powers movie. We took all the neighborhood kids, and it just so happened to be the one that had Fat Bastard in it. And yep. So you guys all kind of came home talking about Fat Bastard. And I remember a couple of the moms got mad at me, which obviously they should have. But number 2 was that Ricky Martin concert, because I don't think I realized until you're standing right there with me. Oh, this is pretty sexy. This is pretty sexy for a 4 or 5 year old. Like you were
not something that 5. A young child should be. It's also late at night. It's late at night. It's loud. It's sexual music, but then it's late at night. It's at least like 9 p.m.
Yeah,
and it's probably like a weeknight. And I probably was supposed to be going to school the next day, and it's damaging to the eardrums.
All the things, every single thing was inappropriate. But I'll say this, I always erred on the side of, I want you to have experiences in life.
Yeah.
Instead of protecting you and sheltering you. So if I made mistakes, it was so you could have great experiences, whether they were appropriate or not.
Yeah. Good or bad, at least. And hey, my therapist hasn't said I have any major issues.
Do you have what?
My therapist doesn't think I have any major issues. So, I mean, it's worked out. It's worked out just fine.
That was a joke.
I don't have a therapist. All right. Well, I think I'm all.
We caught up? We caught up? You're good? You're happy? You're healthy?
I'm happy. I'm healthy. It's a little hot in here. Yeah. Gotta go to the gym.
All right. Well, I love you, darling.
I love you too.